Yo, what's going on guys? How you doing? Arekkz here and welcome to Horizon Zero Dawn. This is a game that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I was actually at E3 in PlayStation's press conference when they first announced this game, and I've been trying to play it ever since. And finally, last week, I was over in Amsterdam at Guerrilla Games, courtesy of PlayStation UK, to go hands-on with the game and of course record some footage for you guys. Everything you see in the background is the stuff that I recorded while I was there. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys some new gameplay and also give you my impressions. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think of the game, let me know if you guys are looking forward to it. But first up, get the information out of the way. Game comes out on February the 28th if you guys are in the States, and March the 1st if you guys are in Europe. So a little bit of disparity there, but either way, not that long to wait. It's of course being developed, as mentioned, by Guerrilla Games, which is kind of an interesting point because this is a considerable departure from what they are known for typically. Guerrilla Games obviously made the Killzone series, and that's basically what they've been doing for the past umpteen years. However, Horizon is their kind of new passion project, and it generally shows. I feel like this is sort of the game that they've always wanted to make. Like, speaking to some of the guys while I was there, sort of hearing their presentation and stuff, it just sounds like this is sort of something they've always wanted to make, and it's given them a chance to step away from what they're known for and just try something new. So that is of course super encouraging to see. Of course, one of the kind of question points I had initially was, how is Horizon going to feel when Guerrilla are typically known for making like an FPS? How is that going to translate to them making like an open world action adventure RPG? Is combat going to feel good? How's the gameplay going to be? All that stuff. So let's start there, because combat and gameplay in this game is so solid. That is one of the things that was going to be super important to me. I am a big Monster Hunter player, and while Horizon is not a hunting game, there is a big component of it which involves taking down big machines. And one of the things that I personally wanted to feel going into this is kind of a challenge, sort of taking them down. I didn't want them just to be those sort of machines that you shoot a couple of times and they fall down, or you shoot their weak spot and they die and it's like, yeah, you know, job done. That is not the case. I mean, there are some small machines that you just shoot them in the eye and they're killed, or you sneak up and stab them, but they're sort of equivalent to your trash mobs. You do have the big machines that take some serious thought to take down. You're going to have to make good use of all of your tools, your gadgets, your kind of weaponry, and plan out your fights as well, because these are not things that you want to sort of take lightly. And bear in mind also, during my hands-on session, I wasn't even playing on the hardest difficulty. I was just playing on the sort of normal difficulty, and even then these big machines present a challenge. So for any of you guys out there that really want a challenge, you know, ramp it up to the utmost difficulty and then try and take on some of these, and let's see how you get on. But either way, feels really good. Combat in this game is largely using ranged weaponry. Of course, it's third person, but you have things like bows, you have like slingshots, a sort of machine gun, shotgun style thing that fires loads of arrows, traps you can put down. There is close quarters combat in the form of your spear, but largely most of your stuff will be done at range. And all of these weapons feel unique in their own way, to the point that you're going to want to be able to use all of them, and you're going to need to use all of them as well, because they all use up ammo, which is stuff that you have to kind of craft as you go. Because the thing in Horizon, you know, you don't necessarily just pick up ammo clips, or you don't run around with infinite arrows. Everything you use, whether that be for your bow, for your slingshot, for your kind of shock traps, that all needs to be crafted and gathered throughout the world. So you're kind of constantly swapping between things, constantly, you know, testing out different things. So there's plenty of variety in the combat when you start to, you know, unlock and buy these new items. And then the more that you play, the more efficiently you learn to begin taking down these monsters, to the point where you'll be like, all right, this particular encounter would benefit from this combination of items, so let's go with that. So yeah, there's a lot of scope to improvise, improve, and of course take advantage of A, your surroundings, and B, the stuff you have at your disposal to fight all these different machines. So gameplay, definitely super solid from what I played. Another thing I want to talk about is the world itself. So Horizon is set in a sort of post-apocalyptic setting. However, despite that, it's not your kind of typical post-apocalyptic where it's browns and greys and like very sort of dark and dull looking environments. It's a very vibrant looking environment, and for a post-apocalyptic setting, the world feels very alive, which is really nice. The map itself is pretty big. For the purposes of the hands-on demo, I only had kind of 2 areas to explore, because some of the areas are gated based on story progression, which, bear in mind, I won't speak about in this video, so there are no spoilers or anything like that. But some of the areas, if you want to go further, you're going to have to, of course, progress in the story. And the area that I was in still felt pretty big. Sure, if you kind of zoom out and you actually look at the overall map, it might not be, say, GTA-sized map, but that doesn't mean that's necessarily a negative thing. Personally, I would much rather have a slightly smaller, but much more vibrant, lively map that actually feels alive than just like an unnecessarily huge map that is just barren and spread out. So I feel like there's plenty to explore in the game. There's also plenty of stuff to do as well across the map. While you can, of course, just go down the golden line and do your story missions, there are side quests to do, collectibles to obviously collect. So for the achievement hunters out there, the people that want to get 100%, there's going to be a lot of stuff for you guys to look for. There's of course stuff to explore, all the different machines to hunt. Now I actually decided during my hands-on time, because I didn't want to focus on the story, A, because I didn't want to spoil it for myself, and B, because I was not going to show you guys story stuff, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go out and look for all the different machines. So I spent a lot of my time in the area that I had trying to find as many different machines as possible. I found some of the small ones, some of the kind of medium-sized ones, a couple of large machines, not all of them though. Looking at the machines page, there are still plenty that I have yet to see, and that also includes ones that I've never even seen in the trailer. So there are obviously in the much further outbounds areas of the map, loads of really cool machines to hunt. And each of these not only present their own individual challenge, but also they drop items, and these items are important because you'll then trade these at vendors in exchange for different items. Items can be things like traps. They can also be cosmetic items like, you know, your gear, which do actually present you with, you know, statistical changes as well. Sometimes it'll be like, you know, more armor or a special status effect, stuff like that. Of course, also your weapons, they require trading parts as well. So, well, as mentioned, if you kind of want to experience the story, you can sort of, you know, funnel through it. A big part of the game is quite obviously to explore this expansive world, use that to then bolster your arsenal, and then of course, you know, take that throughout the game. I did also mention very briefly there, of course, the, you know, the notion of cosmetics and, you know, armor and gear and stuff, and customization is definitely a big thing in this game. There are lots and lots of things to buy and unlock as you progress through. Again, as you encounter more machines, as you kind of get to, you know, further story points, vendors will have more items for you. So while initially you'll buy your basic set of weapons, your basic kind of gear sets, as you progress you'll then get stronger versions of those, versions that will have different abilities or different sort of shot types. And also crafting itself is a huge thing in this game. Like, as you're going around the world, you gather things like plants, sticks, metal, things from machines, everything like that. And when you're on the go, you can craft on the fly, because as mentioned, if you're running around in combat, you're using a lot of arrows and you run out, then you need to be able to craft them as you go. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that when you're playing through this, you gather as much as possible, because if you get into a fight and suddenly you're out of arrows, then you're going to be down to your spear. It's possible, but it's going to make your life a hell of a lot harder. Now, obviously, having spoken a lot about kind of just the general stuff you can do in the world, the story itself does super interest me. I'm not going to kind of talk about specifics or anything like that, but it did get to the point where I do really want to know where this story goes, so it is going to be super interesting. So for those of you guys hoping for a cool narrative experience, while I only got to play about 4 chapters of the game, I'm definitely at that point where I'm like, I want to know what happens. But the last thing I want to speak about is kind of just general performance, because I had a chance to play this on PS4 and also PS4 Pro. If you guys want to see about 2 minutes of 4K gameplay, because Horizon is one of the first games that actually runs native 4K on the PS4 Pro, because it was built with that in mind, as opposed to last year where there were like games with Pro patches where it's kind of upscaling. Horizon genuinely takes advantage of the PS4 Pro. I would say if you guys have a Pro, you're definitely going to want to play Horizon on that. However, I did spend the most part of the day playing on regular PS4. Still looks incredible. I did have a couple of frame drops, but do bear in mind the build that I was playing was an earlier build, so I wouldn't really worry about that. That'll of course be ironed out beforehand. But needless to say, if you guys have a Pro or access to a Pro, whether you have a 4K TV or a 1080 TV, it's definitely going to be the way to play it. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the time being. I am super happy. I only got a chance to play for probably about 5 hours, but during that time I got a really good experience of the game. I'm definitely super looking forward to it. You know, that hasn't necessarily changed my opinion or anything, so I can't wait for this game. I am definitely going to be playing all the way through it, so expect more videos nearer to launch. So for the time being, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then a like would be super appreciated. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.